Hey guys, Memorial Day 2018. I thought before we started this video today, we would just take a moment out to think about those that sacrifice their lives and put their lives on the line so that all of us here in America can have our freedom. And, me personally, as the son of a Vietnam veteran, I'm very grateful not only to those that gave their lives to fight for our freedom, but I'm also very grateful to the veterans still living that also served in war, that fight every day, or that have fought in previous wars to to help keep our country safer. I think it's very important that we never take our freedom for granted, and we always remain grateful to those that are still living that have served and fought in wars for our country, help keep us safer. So to all you folks, any veterans that may say that may see this video, I'm very thankful to you, and very thankful to those that sacrificed their lives for my freedom. In today's video, I got this CD in a little while back. Those of you that know me know that I like many different genres of music. One of my favorites obviously being classic rock. We're not going to talk classic rock today. We're going to talk some R&B and some soul and with a little touch of disco. I'm going to talk about one of my favorite groups, Earth, Wind and Fire. I have here a CD that was, the album itself. I have the CD version of it. I will be picking up a vinyl copy of it as soon as I can find one in decent condition. This particular album was released late in 1980, just before I was born, actually, like a matter of a couple of months before I was born. And actually, one of the songs is had some success right around the time I was born, and we'll talk about that in a moment. That album being this album right here. This is an album called Faces by Earth, Wind and Fire, again released late in 1980. And I thought we'd do a little review on this. I'm looking here at some of these tracks. There's 4 on here that I really like. I listen to fairly regular. One I listen to almost every other day. But what we got to understand a little bit before we talk about this is 1980 and 81. Disco music was kind of, you'd had a backlash in 79 with that jockey that lost his job at a radio station when that particular station decided to go with an all-disco format. So those of you that know your history on music probably remember hearing about an event called Disco Demolition Night. I believe it occurred at Comiskey Field in Chicago. I think it was at a White Sox game or something. In the latter part of 1979. Following that, there was a backlash in disco, so disco in 1980 and into 1981 got a lot less popular. There were people still making disco records. Commodores had a song called Lady, You Bring Me Up. That had a pure traditional arrangement of the instruments. Though one YouTube member did indicate to me he considers that song a post-disco song because the song uses a synth bass. But other than that synth bass, that song is a traditional layout of the instruments and traditional analog type instruments. It doesn't sound electronic to me. So I would consider that more along the lines of one of the last true pure disco songs, and that was pretty popular right around June of 1981. So you have to kind of understand where disco ends and post-disco kind of takes over. You kind of had this area right here, which is in the middle, probably, I would say 1979 through about 81, the later part of 81. You got into 1982, it's a pivotal year for music, and then in 1983 it was much different. Sounds are much different. They were more electronic. Post-disco was in full swing at that point. So you have to kind of understand. Um, there are post-disco songs recorded as early as probably 79, maybe even a couple earlier than that. There were songs that I would consider, many others would consider full-fledged disco songs recorded as late as 1981. Now, if the classic Earth, Wind, and Fire sound that you want, if that's what you want, excuse me, if that's what you want, this is the last album you can get it on. You will hear horns, you will hear traditional analog sound, traditional instruments here. Many of these songs have a disco sound to them. They have horns. They're going to have what you expect from the Earth, Wind, and Fire. My favorites are Pride, Sparkle, Take It to the Sky, and my favorite being And Love Goes On. I probably listen to that song 4 or 5 times a week, if not more. It's a good upbeat song. And it's got a real good fun beat to it. This is an album that, like I said, because of the time in which it was released, the research I've done indicates that I guess the record company didn't give it the promotion it deserved, I guess because maybe they felt it was a little bit too much of a disco type album. But this is in my opinion, has to be one of Earth, Wind, and Fire's best albums, and I've listened to some of their best stuff. I'm back to September, Sing a Song, After the Love Is Gone, Boogie Wonderland, so many songs they've done that that you just love. I mean, every Earth, Wind, and Fire fan knows all the songs. I mean, my mind's drawing a blank right now because it's been a very busy day. But, all of that, I would say that Faces as an album stacks right up with some of the best Earth, Wind, and Fire material ever made. Philip Bailey is a genius. Maurice White is a genius. May he rest in peace. That man was incredible. What a singer, what a leader of a group, And those guys, I will tell you what, they were just phenomenal as a group. This is a type of music I'd love to listen to. And, almost 38 years old, I'm going to continue listening to it for the rest of my life. And as far as ratings go, and then we'll close the video out there, I would give this album, again, I'll show you guys again, Faces, Earth, Wind, and Fire. It gets a 5-star rating, in my opinion. You want the classic Earth, Wind, and Fire sound, that's the last album you can get it on. Take it for a listen. I got this inexpensive, this CD inexpensive. It's in the plastic. I picked it up on eBay. I think I paid about $5-6 for it. And again, I will be picking up a vinyl copy of it just as soon as I can find one in at least VG, maybe VG Plus condition. I don't need a mint album because it's going to see playback. I like to listen to music on vinyl sometimes. I have not a large collection, but I have a half-decent collection, and I love to listen to my music on vinyl sometimes, and this album's no exception. Much like when I listen to Michael Jackson's Thriller album, I love to listen to that on vinyl as well. And some of the other ones like the Bee Gees stuff and so on and so forth, etc., etc. So as soon as I am able to get a decent vinyl copy of that, I will pick one up. But again, 5 stars, Earth, Wind, and Fire, Faces. It's the album, released late in 1980. Classic Earth, Wind, and Fire, R&B, soul, disco, funk kind of a sound. The album that came out after this was the album that had Let's Groove on it. And they were going for a different sound. So again, I reiterate, Let's Groove was a post-disco song, very electronic sounding. It did have horns, but if you notice, they were buried in the back. You don't get that with this album. The horns are front and center, and it sounds just incredible. Good classic Earth, Wind, and Fire sound. So I thank you guys for watching. Hope you had a great weekend, and again, let's take a moment out, if you haven't done so already, to think about all the people that sacrificed so that all of us here can have our freedom here in America. And always, anytime you see a veteran, even the ones that are still alive, obviously you see a veteran, thank them. And on that note, y'all have a goody goody, and we'll see you in the next video.